What's going on, guys? My name is Dan Davis and I'm the creative director here on DansTube.TV. Today I've got Colin from Colin joining me to compare the Insta360 X3 and the Mini 4 Pro. I know on paper this sounds like probably a weird kind of combination. We've got a drone and we've got a 360-degree kind of action camera. But amazingly enough, you can actually capture drone-like footage from the Insta360 X3. We have this head-to-head going on here where we're actually testing out 4 different movements just to see how well each product offers this experience. So firstly, we've got the circle, where it circles around a subject. We've then got the rocket offering, we've got dronie, and we've got the tracking option. And amazingly enough, through the Insta360 software, you can actually track subjects. Colin will show you how all of that works behind the scenes. He'll show you how to edit all of that, and you'll gain a lot of insight into how that works. Definitely check out his channel. He's got a bunch of content. He makes it very easy to follow, and it's perfect if you just want to figure out exactly what he's doing, you know, replicate what he's doing. And yeah, hope you guys enjoy. So we're going to start off by doing a circle around Colin. So I've already selected the circle option. Going to tap on the plus to select Colin, and now we're going to track him and do a circle around him and just see how well the drone can perform. We're going to keep the drone relatively low just to see how well it goes. Seems to be doing a pretty good job at that low level there, and hopefully won't go too wide because we have a bunch of trees around us. See how this goes. Yeah, seems to be doing a pretty good job. Don't know what happened there. Cool.
All right, we have just seen Dan do the circle. Now it's my turn with the X3 to try and replicate that. So I better turn the X3 on first. Now, all you gotta do is make sure that it is in 5.7K, 30 frames, 360-degree camera mode. Extend your 3-meter selfie stick. I'm not gonna be able to do this with the small one. I need my 3-meter. Extend it all the way out, press record, and run around in a circle. Why did I decide to do this?
I don't know. It's a lot. And we're just going to go with the rocket mode now, just to see how well the drone can go with the rocket mode. So it should just launch the drone directly up. And we'll keep Colin nice and center. Cool, and now it's just returning back down, and we're going to go on to the next mode.
I don't think I'm going to be able to replicate this one, but I'm going to give it a red hot crack anyway. I'm leaving that in there, that is so cool. And I wasn't recording. 3, 2, 1. We've got 2 more to do. Dronie, so that is seeing Dan and then pushing back. Let's give it my go.
Here we go. So we're going with dronie now, so it's going to kind of pull away and then pull up to create a really cool revealing shot.
Okay, now this is getting tiring. 1, 2, 3.
All right, so now we're gonna go into active track here. All right, so now I've got Colin in the middle of the frame. We're just tracking him relatively close off to the side. I'm just going to send it a bit further away. We're just going to see how it goes tracking him here. Seems to be doing a pretty good job. He's just in the middle of the field. Yeah, he's trying to put it off now.
Yep. So once again, 360, X3, 360 mode, 5.7K, 30 frames. Let's go.
Changing direction.
Doesn't matter, because I'm a 360 camera. I can go anywhere you want. You
Doesn't matter.
And we go far.
Oh yeah, true, replicate that.
I need to catch my breath.
Yeah.
Because trying to be a drone with an X3 doesn't work too well. I can't track with this camera, so I'll be doing it in post, and I'll show you how to do it in post when I get back to the studio.
Now I'm going to teach you how I edited the 360 footage in the Insta360 Studio app. This is so simple to do. Follow on with me and you'll be able to get the same type of footage as what I created with Dan. So once you've got all the files that you need, simply just open up the Studio app, highlight the files that you want, and then just drop and drag them into the Studio app. The first clip is the circle clip. So what we want to do is that we want to reposition camera angle to be facing Dan, and then we want to select the deep track option. Now click on that and you can see it's already picked someone out of that scene to track. That works really well, but I find that if you actually draw a box around the person, that it tracks it so much better. So you simply just hold your cursor down over the person, let it go, and then it's selected them, and then just hit start tracking. And then you just let Insta360 Studio do all the hard work for you. So there you go. That's how easy it is to be able to track someone with the Insta360 X3 in the Studio app. Now, all you gotta do is to export it. You simply just click the yellow button on the bottom right to export it. Make sure you export it in 4K resolution and your bit rate is at 200. All you have to do then is just name the footage that you want. So we'll go Dan 1 and then just select where you want it to be saved and then just hit export. So as you can see, we'll jump over to the export page and you can see it exporting in live time. So this is the rocket. So I'm just gonna skip forward a bit to where the rocket starts. So you simply just grab the little white cursor and just click and hold it to bring it over to where you want. And then just reframe by clicking on the footage to where you want it to be. So as you can see here, Dan, we'll just center him a bit more. And as you can see, Dan does a shoot off. So we're gonna start here. Then I'm gonna select the plus button, which is a keyframe. And then I'm gonna select the trim button as well. So then I'm gonna trim that footage all the way down to that certain spot. Now, you could literally just leave it right there, then press play, which is the space bar, and then you'll be able to recreate the rocket with the X3. But I'm not happy with that because you can see me in it. So I'm gonna come back down. I'm gonna look to where I come out of the frame, just there. And then I'm just gonna turn the frame that little bit more, add another keyframe. So which is gonna be keeping Dan there. Then let it go a bit, then I can see myself again. So then I'm gonna move it just that little bit more. So I'm out of the shot, add another keyframe, then a little bit more, add another keyframe, then that's it. So that is the rocket. So then I've just moved my cursor back a little bit further just after it finishes. So I'm gonna trim my footage there. Because this is such a very quick portion of the video, I'm actually gonna slow it down a little bit so then it can just drag out that little bit longer, because at the moment, I think it only goes for like 1 second. So to slow that down, bring it back to the start, click the lightning bolt, and then you can select how much of it you want. Now I want the whole lot. So I'm gonna click that, and then I'm going to slow the footage down by dragging it to the left, and that will be the half speed. So if I let go of that, I've got motion blur already highlighted. So then I know I'm going to get a bit of motion blur, and there you go. So you got a little bit more. We've got 3 seconds instead of 1 second. Now this is the dronie. Once again, we're going to see where it starts. I think it starts about here. All right, I'm going to reposition it. I'm going to trim my video up. I'm going to select my keyframe. Now we can do the fish eye, which is that one, or we could do the crystal, tiny planet, or the default view. So I think what I'm going to do is that I'm going to start off in the default view, and then we're going to press play and see what happens. So let's adjust that because we missed Dan's arm. So then we're just going to click on to adjust the keyframe, click on the keyframe where it comes up again, and then just adjust the keyframe by holding down on your mouse, and then it should be good to go. All right, so we'll go from there, bang, off it goes. And there it stops. So we're going to end the footage right there. So once again, we just hit the trim to right. So that's the end of the footage. But what I want to do is that I want to add another keyframe right at the end. Because it's a 360 camera, I can actually zoom out a little bit more to make it that little bit more dramatic. So I think that's probably about it. What's the fisheye look? No, so we're gonna go default, and then we're gonna drag it out that little bit more. So let's have a look what that looks like. There we go, that's not too bad, that one. So we'll export that one. All right, so the last one is the tracking one that Dan did with the Mini 4 Pro. I think Dan has probably beat me with the Mini 4 Pro in all of these ones so far, but I think I have a little trick up my sleeve with my editing that I can beat Dan on this one. Right, so I'm gonna add a ton of keyframes in to this footage to make it a little bit more different than the last one. So I'm gonna set a heap of keyframes for this one. So I'm gonna set a default, and I'm going to adjust it. So this is going to be in default the whole time. Well, not the whole time, but to start with. And we're just going to track Dan. Now, as soon as I see Dan start to move out of frame, I'm going to stop. I'm going to hit the keyframe button, adjust my frame, then press play again. And we just stop there. So Dan's about to move. So I'm going to do something a little bit more trickier here. I'm going to hit a keyframe. So then we've got the same keyframe, and then bang, I'm gonna change now. I'm gonna hit the keyframe. I'm gonna change my view to the asteroid, but what I'm gonna do is I'm going to invert it. All you gotta do is just hold your cursor in the middle, click and hold, and then just drag down, and then it's going to invert it. So let's keep sort of Dan in the shot still and keep me out of the shot. We might even be able to go back a bit. There we go there. Gonna keep on that one. Then I'm going to then add another keyframe, go back to natural view. And we've got Dan there. From here, once again, keyframe. And that's all it's about doing. It's about watching what the video does and then just making those slight movements and adding a keyframe in, gonna get the difference in your footage. All right, so coming through, keyframe, coming through, let's turn a little bit there, keyframe. Now this is where it's going to get interesting. So Dan is trying to evade me right now, so I'm going to add a keyframe there, stop there, then here we go. Keyframe again. Nope, we're going to keep it in natural. And this is where we've just got to be really quick. It's just a pause, keep hitting the space bar to move the playhead along. Now here I want to add a spin. All I do to add the spin, I just hold down my cursor and then I just move it to the right or the left. We're going to do it a full 360 degrees. Keyframe one more time, so we're always keeping Dan in shot, and then we might add another keyframe here. Let's do tiny planet. Even though that I'm going to be in the shot, it's still a cool shot anyway. And then we can finish off with Dan in the default view, and there we go. That is, let's come back a bit because we've pretty much finished there, and we're going to end it there. And there you go, guys. It is that simple to edit Insta360 X3 with the Insta360 Studio. Over to you, Dan. If you want to learn more about the Insta360 X3, jump over to my channel at O'Collin on YouTube, and you can learn a ton more there as well. I've got heaps of tutorials.
We're going to check out how well the Insta360 X3 goes with the different movements that we put it through. So we're starting off with the circle right now. It seems to look pretty cool. I mean, it depends on how you're moving, right? So for Colin here, maybe he wasn't moving at like a steady pace, so you can kind of see it like stops a little bit. You know, not as smooth maybe as a drone, for example, but still pretty impressive. You can see a little bit of warping in the corners because it's obviously like a 360 degree camera, but still pretty impressive stuff. So rocket now, this is the one I've been really keen to see. Oh, that looks sick. That looks really sick. 2 seconds though, very short. I love it. I kind of just send it up and then we get the globe kind of like coming in on itself, like melting around. That looks really sick. I love that. Now we've got dronie, and this one was an interesting one to replicate because Colin had like a 3-meter pole. So let's see how well this one goes. Oh, this one looks cool. Yeah, nice. He had like a really like steady pace going, and that actually looks really unique. I love that one. That looks cool. Now we're going to move on to the tracking here, and this is something really cool because you can track through the Insta360 software. Okay, so it's come from like a globe into me. So I'm kind of jogging. He's got it above me. Seems to be tracking me nicely. Oh, and then it like flips in on itself. That's sick. And then flips back over again. That looks cool. I stop. He goes nice and low here. Jumps it back up. It does look really cool. There's definitely some like awkward movements at times. I feel like that's just part of it, right? Like it just kind of adds to the effect. But still, overall, that looks really, really cool. Something you just cannot replicate on a drone. So by the end of this, you've probably been quite impressed with what the Insta360 X3 can do. Obviously, in most scenarios, the drone is going to come out king because you can go a lot higher, you can fly a lot higher and get all different unique perspectives. But the Insta360 X3 with that huge pole, I think he had like a 3-meter pole, can actually capture similar drone-like footage. You know, he had it like above my head and I just launched it up like this. He threw the camera up and then created this like mini world, and such a unique perspective, right? Something that's very cool that you can't capture even from a drone, right? Like, yeah, you can capture those globe-like effects, but that's more of a once-off effect. You know, they've got it in their kind of quick shot mode through DJI. But with the Insta360 X3, you can create, you know, the mini globe, then you can flatten it out like a pancake, flip it upside down, do all sorts of moving, and you can even track a subject. So no matter what's happening, because it's tracking everything 360 degrees, no matter which way you move, what happens, it seems to do a really good job. The stitch line is seamless, so it does a great job. So yeah, you're probably quite impressed with what the Insta360 X3 has been able to do. The Mini 4 Pro obviously stands out in most scenarios here, but I feel like the fact that the X3 has been able to capture such unique perspectives and create those little mini globes and then flatten it out and then change it to, you know, that's something that a drone just can't do. So that's where I think it really stood out here. And yeah, hopefully you guys can let us know in the comments below what your thoughts are. Check out Colin's channel and I'll chat to you in the next one. Peace. Right, so you can see Colin over here, he's getting puffed, and you probably noticed that when he was doing the Insta360 shots, he was running around and getting a little bit out of breath. So you just got to keep that in mind, right? Like for me with the drone, standing in the shade, nice and relaxed, peaceful, didn't have to worry that this guy, you know, he's got to run around to get the shot. So just keep that in mind.